the empty cradle. Right now, in hospitals across South Korea, there are maternity wards being quietly converted into nursing homes. Not someday, this decade. The same building, the same corridors, but instead of the cry of newborns, the rooms are filling with the very old. It is one of the strangest sights of the 21st century, and it is a preview of something far, far larger, because humanity is about to do something it has never done before. For roughly 300,000 years, our story has been one of relentless growth. More people, more cities, more of everything. But that story is quietly ending, and almost nobody is ready for what comes after it. Here is the number that should stop you cold. To keep a population stable, the average woman needs to have about 2.1 children. Demographers call this the replacement rate. Today, the global fertility rate has fallen to around 2.3, and it is still dropping. In South Korea, the figure recently sank to about 0.72, with the capital Seoul dipping even lower. Read that again, less than 1 child per woman. At that rate, for every 100 Koreans alive today, there might be only about a dozen great-grandchildren, an entire nation quietly doing the arithmetic of its own disappearance. But South Korea is not the bizarre exception. It is simply the front edge of the wave. Japan, Italy, Spain, Greece, China, and most of Eastern Europe have all fallen below replacement. And here is the part nobody saw coming. It is happening in the very places we were once taught to fear. For the opposite reason. In the 1970s, the world panicked about a population bomb, a future of endless overcrowding and famine. That bomb never went off. Instead, fertility quietly collapsed almost everywhere. Even much of Latin America, even India, even swathes of the Middle East have now slipped below that magic number of 2.1. According to the United Nations, more than half of all countries are already below replacement level. The thing we were warned would destroy us simply reversed. Why? The reasons are surprisingly human. As countries get richer, children stop being extra hands on the farm and become extraordinarily expensive long-term projects. Education costs explode. Women gain careers, choices, and freedom. Cities shrink apartments and stretch working hours. People marry later or not at all. In South Korea, sky-high housing prices, brutal work culture, and a ferociously competitive education system have made raising a child feel almost impossible for many young couples. None of these are villains. They are mostly signs of progress, and that is exactly what makes this problem so fiendishly hard to solve. At first, a falling birth rate looks like good news, or like nothing at all. Roads feel less crowded. School classes get a little smaller. For a while, an economy can even boom, because there are fewer children to support and a huge bulge of working-age adults all earning at once. Economists call this the demographic dividend, and countries like China rode it to spectacular wealth. But a dividend always has to be paid back. And the bill arrives slowly, almost invisibly, until suddenly it is everywhere. It begins with the inverted family tree, and it flips the entire experience of being human upside down. Picture a single household a few decades from now. 1 child, 2 parents, 4 living grandparents, and, thanks to better medicine perhaps, a couple of great-grandparents still around. For all of history, you grew up surrounded by siblings and cousins, a swarm of relatives your own age. In this future, a child might be the only young person in an entire extended family. No siblings, no cousins, aunts and uncles who simply never existed. The emotional weight of this is staggering. That one child grows up carrying the hopes and eventually the care of 6 aging adults. China already has a name for this, the 4-2-1 problem, where one young adult becomes responsible for 2 parents and 4 grandparents. Now imagine that pressure not as a quirk, but as the global default. But the family is only the beginning. The real shock arrives when this collides with money, and it hits hard. Modern economies run on a hidden assumption that there will always be more young workers than old retirees. Your pension, your social security, the taxes that pave roads and staff hospitals, none of it sits in a vault with your name on it. It is paid by the workers of today, for the retirees of today. It is a chain, each generation carried by the one behind it. Now snap that chain. When the old vastly outnumber the young, the math breaks. In Japan, the country furthest down this road, the signs are already surreal. Adult diapers now outsell baby diapers. Rural towns install vending machines for hot meals because there are not enough people to staff a restaurant. Over 700 schools close or merge in a single recent year. Roughly 1 in 10 homes nationwide sits empty, abandoned houses the Japanese call akiya, some given away for free to anyone willing to live in them. As the ratio of workers to retirees collapses, governments face an impossible triangle. Raise taxes on a shrinking pool of young people until they are crushed. Slash the pensions that older citizens spent their whole lives paying into, or print money and risk inflation devouring everyone's savings. There is no painless option, only different flavors of pain, and just when you think you understand the problem, it gets stranger. A shrinking population should mean cheaper everything, right? Fewer people, less competition, falling prices. Wrong. Here is the twist almost. Nobody expects. When workers become scarce, their labor becomes precious. A plumber, a nurse, an electrician. Suddenly there are not enough of them, and their wages soar. That sounds wonderful, until you realize the cost of everything they touch soars too. Building a house, caring for the sick, repairing the power grid, all of it grows dramatically more expensive at the exact moment society can least afford it. We have never faced a structural labor shortage on this scale before, but economies are just the surface. Because nations do not merely lose workers, they lose power. And that quietly redraws the map of the world. Think about what makes a country strong. Soldiers, inventors, taxpayers, consumers. Every one of these comes from a single source: people. A nation that runs out of young people runs out of options. This is why demographers sometimes say that demography is destiny. You cannot fight a war, build an empire, or even maintain a national highway system with a population that is too old and too small. History offers a chilling preview. Many scholars argue that part of the Roman Empire's slow decline was tied to falling birth rates among its citizens. The Emperor Augustus grew so alarmed by Romans refusing to marry and have children that he passed actual laws penalizing the childless and rewarding large families with privileges and tax breaks. It did not work. You cannot legislate desire. 2,000 years later, modern governments are running the very same experiment, and so far getting the very same result. Watch what this does to global power. The countries that age first lose their edge first. Their militaries shrink. Their innovation stalls. China, the rising giant of the last 40 years, is now projected by the UN to lose more than half its population by 2100, falling from 1.4 billion to roughly 633 million, the level it last saw in the 1950s. Meanwhile, for a brief shining window, a handful of young nations across sub-Saharan Africa hold an extraordinary advantage. But here is the catch, and it is a big one. Their birth rates are falling too, just a few decades behind. Everyone is riding the same train. Some cars simply have not reached the cliff yet. So nations do what desperate nations do. They begin to compete fiercely for the one resource quietly running out: human beings themselves. And this triggers a global scramble unlike anything in history. Right now, immigration is the only proven cure for a shrinking workforce. Countries like Canada and Germany already lean on it heavily just to stay afloat. But project a few decades forward, when every wealthy nation needs immigrants at once and the worldwide supply of young workers is itself drying up, immigration stops being about keeping people out. It flips entirely. Nations begin competing to attract them. Imagine governments offering free housing, instant citizenship, signing bonuses, even paying off student debt, all to win the loyalty of a single 25-year-old engineer or nurse. The talent. War we see in technology today becomes the defining geopolitics of the century. Whole countries reduced to recruiters, but even that only delays the reckoning, because eventually there simply are not enough young people anywhere, and that is when humanity turns to its boldest gamble of all: technology. If we do not have enough humans to do the work, the logic goes, we will build something that can. This is where the falling birth rate collides with the explosive rise of artificial intelligence and robotics, and the timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. As the workforce shrinks, the machines arrive to fill the gap. Factories run lights out by robotic arms. Elder care androids gently lifting patients who have no children left to lift them. AI doctors, AI tutors, self-driving trucks and taxis. For a moment, it looks like salvation. A society where machines handle the labor and humans are finally freed to live, create, and care for one another. Some economists argue this is the only way an aging world keeps its lights on at all. But this solution hides a blade. If robots do the work, who earns the wages? Who pays the taxes that fund those enormous pension bills? A robot does not buy groceries, does not rent an apartment, does not spend the money that keeps an economy breathing. We may solve the labor shortage only to discover we have hollowed out the consumer economy beneath it. One problem traded for a larger one. And this forces a question we have never had to seriously ask. What is an economy actually for, if not to serve a growing number of people? We may be forced to reinvent the entire concept from the ground up, with ideas like a universal basic income, paid for by the productivity of machines, moving from fringe theory to outright necessity. Some thinkers even imagine taxing the robots themselves to fund the humans they replace. Step back far enough and something deeper comes into view. We are watching the slow transformation of human civilization itself. For thousands of years, our cultures, religions, cities, and economies all silently assumed growth. More people next year than this year. That single assumption is baked into everything, the way water is baked into a fish's world. Now pull it out. What remains? You get a world of empty spaces. The UN now projects that global population will peak at around 10.3 billion in the mid-2080s. And then, for the first time in modern history, begin to fall. Demographers already speak of ghost cities and shrinking towns, places where the last school closes because there are no children, where houses stand empty because there are no buyers. In rural Japan, Italy, and Spain, this is not a forecast. It is happening now, entire villages falling silent, their final residents in their 80s. Now scale that vision up. Imagine whole regions returning to wilderness, forests reclaiming abandoned suburbs, the strange, quiet beauty of a planet, carrying far fewer people. And here the future splits into two radically different roads. In the dark version, civilization simply winds down. Innovation slows because there are fewer minds inventing. Each generation, smaller than the last, inherits crumbling infrastructure built for a population that no longer exists. Skills are lost. Knowledge fades. The lights dim, not in a sudden catastrophe, but in a long, gentle twilight that no single generation quite notices. But there is a brighter road, and it is just as plausible. In this future, fewer people means less strain on a battered planet. Carbon emissions ease, wild places recover. Crowded cities become spacious, green, and genuinely livable. With AI shouldering the grunt work, the humans who remain live longer, healthier, more creative lives. Quality quietly replaces quantity. Not a collapse, but a graceful landing into a smaller, richer, more sustainable equilibrium. A humanity that finally stops sprinting and learns at last how to simply live well. Which road we walk may depend on choices made in the next 20 years. But there is one final layer to all of this, and it is the one that should keep you awake at night. Because if the trend never reverses, we arrive at a question no species has ever had to face. What is the last stop on this road? If birth rates fall and keep falling, if every nation eventually drops below replacement and stays there, then you are no longer describing an aging society. You are describing a vanishing one. Run the curve all the way to its end, and the human population does not simply shrink, it bends towards zero. Now, that almost certainly will not happen in a clean, straight line. Humans adapt, cultures shift. The UN itself assumes fertility will tick slightly upward, even as it warns that a return to 2.1 within the next 30 years looks very unlikely. And some communities, often deeply religious or traditional ones, are maintaining high birth rates even now. Over centuries, they may simply inherit the future, becoming the dominant share of whoever remains. Evolution does not pause. It is entirely possible that humanity quietly selects, generation after generation, for the one trait that matters most in a low fertility world: the sheer, stubborn desire to have children. But here is the thought that lingers. We have spent our entire existence terrified of the wrong apocalypse. We feared the asteroid, the plague, the war, the climate catastrophe, endings that are sudden, loud, and violent. We never seriously imagined that the greatest threat to humanity might be the quietest one conceivable. Not a bang, not even a whimper, just an empty cradle in a silent room, in a world that slowly, peacefully chose to stop. The question was never whether humanity could survive disaster. The question, it turns out, is whether humanity still wants to continue at all. And that is a choice no government, no robot, and no economy can make for us. It is made one family, one person, one decision at a time. So the real question isn't what happens if birth rates keep falling. The real question is this: when you picture the future, the actual future, decades and centuries from now, is there anyone standing in it? And if that empty room frightens you, even a little, then ask yourself the only question that has ever truly mattered. What are you personally willing to do about it?